on time. So I should say quickly, welcome everybody to our members and supervisor training tonight. Very exciting subject tonight. And I hand just straight over to Anne-Marie Robinson, World Team Anne-Marie, who want to introduce our speakers for tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to get straight into it. I'm introducing two very amazing speakers to you tonight. Liesl Jardam, she's the International Active World Team member. She started the business. She has a background in attorney, and she decided to try Herbalife for losing weight. She had such amazing results, and then she decided to start helping people, changing one life at a time. Really a very inspirational coach, and her trainings are phenomenal, so you're going to learn so much tonight. And then secondly, Ria Prinsloo, she's a international world team member. She started after her daughter convinced her to come to a meeting, and she wasn't really sure what the meeting was about. She has a background in logistics, and she fell in love with our products. She's had just as amazing results, helping people one by one and building a very nice team. Also amazing speaker. You learn so much from her. So I'm very excited to hand over to them.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for that. Liesl and I have prepared something for you, and we've decided to take turns in presenting. So I'm going to start first. So Bia, if you'll give us the first slide, then I'll appreciate it. Goal setting and finding your why. So what do you want to do with, what do I want to do with my life? So you need to ask you that question. That's the most important question. And it's time to design and build your life. Sorry, Bia. It's time to design and build your life, the life you actually want to live. So do you have dreams, goals, and hopes, but ultimately feel lost or feel that your life is just kind of getting away from you and you aren't really achieving anything significant or even creating the life you truly want to live? So if you think of your life every day, how often do you feel at the end of the day that you are working very hard, but you cannot actually pinpoint what you've done? So I'm sure you all know how that feels. So here's an opportunity to clear on what you truly want, to get clear on what you truly want, who you want to be and how you want to live, how you want your life to be. What we will share here is about taking the time to actually design a very specific and detailed plan for your life, and then stepping up and tracking action to make it real. Taking action, sorry, I'm actually so tired I can't even speak. The gym people were killing me tonight. Okay. So before you start, you need to go to a place where you can be mentally and physically in a good space. So perhaps put up some inspiring music or go and sit in a park or at the beach where you as a person find it mentally and physically comfortable. And it's about find a space to connect with your innermost self. Right, part one, clarity is power. So the key questions to get you started. What do you want? You need to take a piece of paper and just write. Don't overthink it, just write. Then who do you want to be? In other words, what type of person do you want to be, and what would you like to do, and what would make you feel proud about you? What do you want to do with your time on this planet? As you know, our time is limited. We don't live forever. So what do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve and accomplish? What would make you feel the greatest sense of fulfillment and joy? So those 5 questions you need to go and ask yourself, and you need to write it down. And it doesn't have to be a list. It can be all over the page, and any way you want to. It's just put it down on paper. Then 5 questions to help you discover your purpose and passion. Question 1, what are you passionate about? What are you most interested in or fascinated about? I just need to move. Okay. What is your life's purpose? If there's something greater that inspires you to a higher calling, what is your mission in life? Question 4 is, what will be your lasting legacy and contribution? In other words, what would you like to contribute to the world and society? Question 5 is, what would you do if you could do anything? This might just help you to answer the first question in a more empowering way. If you could do anything, and I mean anything, what would you do during your lifetime? So I'm sure if you think about it, I know from myself that I've always known all my life that I want to help people. That to me was the most important thing. And I didn't care how and where and when. I just wanted to help people because I believe I've been put on this earth to help people. So that is where you're going to go into those questions. The key questions to... Okay, sorry. Next slide, please, Pia. Sorry. Part 2 is the powerful and purposeful goals. So reflect, re-evaluate, and rewrite your goals. Are your goals important to you as an individual, or are they goals which are important to society and how others view you? So what's your why? Why do you want to achieve that goal? Why is it important to you? And how would it make you feel if you achieve that particular goal? How would it change you and change your life to achieve your goal? The time frame. Break down your goals into 4 time frames: 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, and a lifetime goal. I'm going fast because we've got a lot to cover, guys, so please bear with me. Planning and preparation. If you don't design, this is a quote from Jim Rohn, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they've planned for you? Not much. So how are you going to achieve each goal? What are the steps, time investment, skill set? Who must you become? What do you need to prepare? What are top 3 ideas and actions you can take from the above to achieve each of your goals? Now that you know what it will take to achieve the goal, add a specific date to the goal and write it out in a more empowering way. We've been here before. You will give a time and a date. By 31st of May 27, I have achieved the level of supervisor. So you need to know exactly by when you want to achieve your goal. I'm grabbing my mouse beer to change the slides. The person I must become. It's part 4. Another quote from Jim Rohn: success is something you attract by the person you become. So what type of person must I become? List your strengths and weaknesses. This will give you an idea of where you are at right now. Don't be afraid to be brutally honest with yourself. But don't be unfair and beat yourself up either. All masterpieces take time to create. Rome wasn't built in one day, people. List your current behavioral traits and then think of how you can swap them out with more purposeful and empowering traits that will make you the type of person you want to be. So what areas do you need to improve upon if you're going to become more and achieve more? The quote from Zig Ziglar: what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Sure, I've read that about 7 times. This is a very, very interesting. Part 5, tie up your loose ends. Your loose ends are what makes your life messy, and it's what creates chaos and distracts you from what you should be doing. This is what keeps most people busy, but not productive. So you understand why I said how often you feel you've worked very hard, you are so tired, but you cannot actually go and write down one thing that you've achieved for the day. Tie up your loose ends, clean up your life, sort out the mess and get things in order so your mind can focus on what is actually important to you. Like cleaning out your wardrobe, like we've been reading in Essentialism. Part 6, habits, rituals, and routines. The quality of your life will always be a reflection of the quality of your routines, rituals, and habits. Track your current habits for a week. Now we come back to the compound effect. Work out where you are spending your time, efforts, and energy on a daily basis. There's no right or wrong when tracking your habits and routines. The main thing is to measure and understand what you're doing now so that you can make changes that will allow you to perform at a higher level in the future. Write down your current habits versus new habits you want to create and replace your less desirable habits with new and more empowering habits and daily rituals. Last week, I have said the same thing. I realized that it's hard to get rid of old habits. So create new ones to put them in their place so there's no more time for the old habits. Once you're done, start making those changes in your daily life right away so you can start to see results. And Liesel's taking over from you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ria. Just to give you guys a bit of context before I move on, the information that we're sharing here with you guys, these 10 steps that we're running through, is actually a exercise that I did with workbooks that I got from a guy called Joe Duncan. For those of you on the focus group, I've shared some of his quotes already. But when I was really stuck at finding my why, I've done the exercise a lot of times already where I write down my goals and where I think this is what I want, but there was sort of a missing link going from the goals that I want to achieve to how to actually get it done. What are the steps that need to happen in between? And when I started searching online for some articles or things that I could read that might help me to figure out how to make that happen, I stumbled upon his things. And I'll make this available to you guys. I actually ordered it from overseas, but I'm happy to share it with everyone. What we're sharing with you now is just a couple of highlights about the blueprint, which is a guide that takes you through all these steps. And there's a lot of information what we're sharing with you guys now, but this is something that can take you over the space of a week, for instance, to work through all of this. Because you've got your blueprint, which tells you the how, which we're covering with you guys now, but you get a workbook that you can download with it, with blank sheets. And what I loved about this is you start out right at the start where you actually share your goals, or you write down your goals and you just write whatever comes to mind. But then later on, he takes you through that further process where you start filtering those goals. And this is an important thing that Ria touched on, where she said that you need to be clear, are the goals that you've chosen or written down, are they the ones that are important to you as an individual, or are they goals that you think society would want you to have? And it's amazing, when I started putting my goals through that filter, I started realizing there's a lot of things that I have on there that I've put there because other people might think it would be good for me to achieve those things. It's not what I necessarily want. So I'm going to make the information available to Bia, and I'm sure she'll happily upload it somewhere for us, or I can create a Dropbox link and you guys can download it from there. But it's worth taking the time working through this, especially if you're stuck and you don't really know where to go with the goals. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, which focuses on values and beliefs. It's important to understand what your specific values and beliefs are. And a value is really a standard and principle that you consider to be important to you and that you value in yourself and in many cases in others as well. So your current values and their importance or relevance could be holding you back from reaching your potential and achieving all the amazing goals and dreams that you have. It's important that you list your values and look at why those values and beliefs, why you have those values and beliefs. And it's about being honest with yourself, and don't be afraid to look into your past for those answers, because oftentimes there are experiences that we've had in the past that shape our values and our beliefs. And it might not necessarily be who we are as a person. But if we don't actually sit and write down these things and decide what kind of person we are now and what we don't like about that and what we want to work towards changing, then having a goal of traveling the world one day, or retiring financially free, won't happen, because there's a process that you as a person need to go through. There's a person that you need to become first before you'll ever achieve those goals. So if your values and your beliefs aren't in sync with what it would take to achieve those goals, you actually won't achieve them. Robin Sharma says it beautifully when he says your daily behavior reveals your deepest beliefs. So not always what we say, but what we do is what tells people what we believe in and who we really are. So a belief is something that you have internalized, accepted, and believe it is true. It doesn't necessarily mean it is true. It's what you believe is true. And in most cases, it's a strong sense or a feeling or even a story that you have accepted as your view or your reality of life. So when you want to assess your beliefs, it's important to make a list of what your beliefs are. Try and understand and evaluate for yourself why you have that specific belief. And if you're not happy with it, figure out what the new, more empowering belief is that you can replace the not so good belief with. Next slide, please, Via. So up until this point, when you've worked through these 7 parts, it's one thing to have done all of these exercises, but it always goes back to action. It's all good and well having all the knowledge and taking in all this information, but you don't put any of it into practice. So what you need to focus on is putting an action plan together. And you need to execute that action plan every single day. And what I love about Joe Duncan is he also focuses on a 90-day plan where you've got to implement things in a 90-day cycle. And he says the first 90 days are always about discipline and consistency. So when you put this plan together for yourself with the changes that you want to implement, it's important that you design this plan for the first 90 days, that you can execute it and you don't have to worry about perfection. Because if we wait for everything to be perfect or every circumstance to be perfect, we'll never ever get started. So the first 90 days is really about figuring out what you want to do and start doing it, and then just make changes as you go along. So it's about focusing on progress and making sure that you get it done every day. This is how you build yourself up towards perfection. Your action plan also has to be realistic and easy to read and easy to do. A simple example there is the specific goal that Ria mentioned earlier on, where you say you want to reach the level of supervisor by May 2017. We're now in February. That's entirely doable. It's manageable. You could hit supervisor by May 2017 if you're a brand new member. However, if that goal had been, I want to reach president's team by May 2017, it wouldn't be very realistic. It would be nice, but it wouldn't be very, very realistic. So you need to make sure that it's easy to read and easy to do. And if it's easy to do, then you only have yourself to blame at the end of each day if you don't get it done. It's good to have big goals and big dreams, but if you aren't realistic about the time frame that it will take you to achieve them, you'll end up being disappointed and think you're a failure when actually you're not. You just didn't give yourself enough time to make it work. So your 90-day plan is about prioritizing and making sure that you get the tasks done that you have to get done in the 90 days. And then fill up the rest of the time with the things you can want to do. So the additional things that you want to add in. And this will form a basis of your direction as well as your aim for the next 90 days and guide you with your weekly plan and your daily plan. So if you're clear about the goals that you want to achieve for yourself, whether it's physical, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in your Herbalife business, it doesn't really matter. Whatever those goals are that you want to focus on, be realistic about what you can achieve in the 90 days and then decide how you want to go about achieving it. And from this 90-day plan, it's important, if we can have the next slide, please, Via. It's important that you put a weekly plan together for yourself. Get into the habit of planning your week on a Sunday night before you go to bed. This is something recent that I implemented for myself, and it makes the world of difference. Because you can ask me on a Sunday evening, what have I got planned for the following week? And I already know what's written in my diary. I already know what's happening. I know where I have open spaces if I suddenly have someone that I need doing from 1 minute to the next minute. So do this before you go to bed on a Sunday evening so you have a clear idea and understanding of what you're trying to achieve during the week ahead. So it's taking those 90-day goals and breaking them down into smaller goals that you want to focus on per week. And a plan for the week will give you clarity, focus, and purpose, because then you know what you're aiming for. And then breaking it down even further into a daily plan. Every night before you go to bed, you want to have a plan for the next day. You need to know what's happening. And this is the key to making progress and getting the results you want to see in your life. If my goal is to have 30 customers by the end of February, but I am not setting up any assessments. I'm not working on making contacts with people to get those appointments done. And I get to the last week in February, and I then only look at my plan and I see, oh, I actually wanted to aim for 30 customers this month. I have 5 customers. It's going to be no sleep for that week if I really want to then get to the 30 customers, which is not realistic. It's not likely. So if I know upfront my goal by the end of the month is to have 30 customers, I know that's X amount of customers per week that I need to focus on. So how many assessments do I need to do to get that amount of customers done? So if I know what I need to be doing every single day and every week, then it helps me to perhaps not even just reach my goal for the end of the month, but even exceed it. And then another important part of this whole process is about visualizing your goals. It's not just about being clear about them and putting an action plan together. You need to think it, live it, breathe it, inhale it, have it around you all the time. So visualization is very important. And taking 10 minutes visualizing, feeling and manifesting the life you want and the person you want to be in exact detail every morning is one of the best tips I can give you guys. Because that gives you focus also. Because if you start your day focusing on the things you want to achieve, it makes you more driven to get the work done that you need to get done on that day to move you closer towards your goals. I like using something like a vision board. If you guys peek over my shoulder over there, my vision board is over there. It's propped up here in my office where I can see it. I'm aiming to qualify for the vacation in Miami next year. So my screensaver on my desktop, which you can't see right now, is a picture of the Miami beachfront. I've got a tracker for the vacation that I created for myself, tracking my volume. That's up in my office where I can see it. So it's important that you focus on those things. Using a vision board or just meditating and thinking about the things that you want to achieve and surrounding yourself with the things that remind you of the goal. That's the best things that you can do, because what our mind focuses on, we tend to move towards. And you have to get to a point where you train and rewire your mind to focus exclusively on what you want and who you want to become. This isn't something that you do once in a while or when you feel like it. It's something that you need to do 2 or 3 times a day religiously without fail until it becomes an ingrained part of who you are. Next slide, please, Bea. Okay, part 10 is about making progress and also then measuring your performance. So how can you maintain and measure your performance and progress? You want to get into the habit of tracking your performance daily. And there are 2 easy ways to do that. And this doesn't just apply to your Herbalife business. It applies to your personal results or whatever the goal is that you want to focus on. There is a way that you possibly can track it. So use a tracking sheet of some sort. I like using Darren Hardy's rhythm register that he talks about in the compound effect. So there are certain habits that I'm focusing on or certain actions that I'm focusing on that I want to make permanent habits in my life, that they eventually become automated. So to help me to do that, I've got a rhythm register that I complete every single day with those specific tasks, and I have to tick that I've actually done it. And the same goes like with your Herbalife business. If you're focused on achieving a certain target every single month, most of us work with the 15-10-5-1, whether that's a monthly plan or a weekly plan. We track that. We've got the tracking sheet. Why do we do that? Because we want to see that we're making progress and that we're actually getting somewhere. So apart from that, if you start ticking off these accomplishments every day, it gets you even more excited. It makes you want to do even more because you can see that you're making progress. Or you can even take something like a journal and write in your journal at the end of the night and evaluate your day, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. What could you do better tomorrow that you weren't really happy with today? How can you be better and do more? But the key to making progress is about consistency. The big C, it's there all the time. And you need to work in manageable time frames. And a daily review like this shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes at the end of each day. So it doesn't take up a lot of your time, but the value you're going to get out of this is immeasurable. And then review your week on a Sunday evening before you set up your new week. If you take the time to set up your week on a Sunday night, then it won't take you long to evaluate your previous week before you get started. So you're constantly in this, do the action, evaluate, do the action, evaluate, improve the action, evaluate. And that's how you get better and better and better at something. Next slide, please, Bea. So there are a few core areas that you can start to evaluate and think about each day or week that might help you to score your level of performance. So here's a quick list of attributes that you can review and evaluate to see if you're performing at a higher level and track along nicely towards your goals and vision for yourself and your life. Consistency. Question is, was I consistent this week? Attitude. Very important. Did I have the right attitude today? Was I happy? Was I positive all the time? Or was I walking around like a grumpy grouch? Action level. Did I do enough in the time I had available? Or was I wasting a lot of time? Behavior. Have I acted and behaved in a way that makes me feel proud? Energy. Did I eat well? Did I exercise well? Did I rest well? Do I feel good? Because if you don't feel good, nothing else around you is going to feel good or work well. Did I achieve each of my daily goals? So again, it's going back to assessing what you did throughout the day. What are your rituals? Am I running powerful and purposeful rituals every morning, or am I waking up whenever I want to wake up and then decide how I want to run my day? Will I have my shake? Not have my shake? You need to be clear about these things. All of it matters. Happiness. Are you actually happy? Looking at your relationships. Have you nurtured your relationships and friends? Have you added value to those relationships? Contribution. Did you help others and contribute to the world today and make someone's life better? Believe it or not, when you help other people feel better about who they are and what they do, you end up feeling better too. And that's just awesome, because that's what we do as Herb Life coaches anyway. Fulfillment. Have I done something for me and done something that fulfills me today? So these are just a couple of keys. You don't have to use all of them. It's up to you. But these are a couple of mental joggers that you can use to just track yourself to see whether you're performing at your highest level. Last slide, please, Bea. Well, not last slide, but last of the written slides. The conclusion that I want to cover with you guys is that it's easy to start thinking that you are putting in all this extra effort and nothing is really changing or happening. This is something that we covered in the compound effect as well. And if you guys haven't read that book yet, I recommend that you guys really read it, because we often do something now and we expect a result straight away. But momentum needs to build up. So if you've implemented some changes for the first 90 days and you don't see massive results, please don't quit, because the first 90 days is about figuring out where you can improve and make things better. The second 90 days builds on the first 90 days, and the third 90 days takes it even further. Then it starts building up a little bit of momentum, and only by the time you get to your fourth 90-day cycle is when you will really start seeing tangible results. But phase 1, 2, and 3 had to happen before 4 can actually kick in and before you get the momentum going. And the reality is that if you are doing your tasks and taking action each day, you'll eventually see the progress, gains, and the results. The art of making progress in any area of your life is to be consistent and disciplined over a long period of time. It's your level of consistency, discipline, and dedication that will allow you to see the results you want. Maybe not in the short term, as I said, but eventually. Jim Rohn says it beautifully when he says discipline is the bridge between having a goal and actually accomplishing it. But it's also important that you understand when you start focusing on these specific goals and you really decide on an action plan and you start working towards it, life will challenge you. The challenges will come. Why? Because how serious are you really about achieving the goals? That's why we get challenged. And that's why only a certain number of people in life ever achieve success. It's because they had the challenges, they dealt with them, and they got stronger through it, and they moved on, where others would quit. So it's important, that little quote that I put in there from Joe Duncan, it's protect yourself against the downside. Know that it's going to come and just be ready for it. How do you protect yourself? By developing good habits and rituals. Having those good habits and routines and rituals in place will make you unshakable in your actions and the things that you do on a daily basis. So what we've covered here tonight with you guys on the workbook from Joe Duncan, it's really just a couple of highlights that we took out, but you can see just from this already, it's quite detailed. So I'll definitely make the workbooks available to everyone. If you want to take the time and really invest in yourself, if you're not clear about your goals and anything else in your life, I highly recommend that you work through it. It helped me an immense amount. Next slide, please, Bea. So I thought I'd share with you what I discovered for myself, my why. And I've had lots of different things in my life that I thought were the goals that I really want to go for, a lot of material things. But when I worked through this whole process, I looked at all of my things that I want to achieve, and I realized it's all based on experiences. I am the kind of person that wants to go out and explore and experience life and experience things and experience places. And a quote or a little motto that I picked up along the way is collecting memories and not things. And that is really what I want to do with my life, and have the opportunity to travel the world, but doing it with people that matter to me, doing it with family and with friends, and having the freedom and lifestyle to invest in my friends and my family and my cute little puppy. That's not going to be a puppy for that much longer. But there's a couple of things that I want to do with him, like agility training, which I'll need the time to be able to do that. But fortunately, with a business like Herbalife, if I put in the work, I can achieve the goals that will allow me to be able to do those things. So that's basically my why that I discovered, and the things that the things that I want to do with my life. I'm going to hand back over to Ria, because there's a last slide where she's going to tell you what happened to her and how she got to her why. Ria?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, over to you.
Okay. I found my why a little bit different than what we have just discussed and presented to you now. Through a very, shall I say, I was fortunate through a very unfortunate incident. So what happened with me is my mother-in-law's been was living with us for the last 7 years, and in 2016, her health was extremely unstable, and she was in and out of ICU 3 times in 1 year. And every time she'd come back from hospital so weak, and I would nurse her back to health with love, dedication, and care. And then one night we had a disagreement over something as trivial as her medication, and she said some hurtful and upsetting things. And I discovered her feelings towards me were not as noble as I always thought. So this overwhelming feeling overcame me that moment that I was standing there talking to her, and I felt so sorry for her that she had to stay with us. She used to be the most independent person and worked full day till the age of 76. But she never had financial freedom, hence the fact that she had to come and stay with her children. And I also felt sorry for me that she stayed with us. The sacrifices that one has to make when a parent lives in your house is astronomical. I don't know if there's more people doing that. I really don't envy you, and I really admire you if you can get it right, because I really tried my utmost best and it didn't happen. So it dawned on me with vivid clarity that I do not want to live with my kids one day when I'm old and sick. And I do not want my kids to ever go through the same experience. So my why is to ensure that I have financial freedom to prevent the above from happening to me, and most important, to my children. Because my true why, my deeper why is my children. And I always say that I want to give them everything because they are my whole life. And more so for them, I don't want to do it to them. So I'm going to do everything in my power to prevent that from happening by working on my goals that I'll be setting as soon as I've done this workbook. As you can all hear from the experiences that I've only started with the workbook once Liesl gave it to me, so I have not progressed as far as she has. Hence the fact that I presented at the beginning, because it's the only part I did. But what I'm trying to, it was a really overwhelming sense of why that I discovered that day. So yeah, that's me. If I carry on now, I'll cry.
Well, that's pretty much it from our side, guys. As I said, I'll make the information available, and those of you who want to go through the exercise, please feel free to do so. Thanks, Bia.
Thank you, Bia.
Thank you very much, Liesl, and thank you very much, Ria. Very, very powerful. I'm speechless here to digest everything. It was a lot. And I'm actually quite grateful that I recorded it, that I clicked on the record button before we got started, because this training is really worth it to listen over and over and to read the slides over and over again. So thank you very much for your awesome training tonight. Anne-Marie, do you want to add something on? You were hosting the call tonight, so it's up to you to say the final word. And before I hand over, yes, please send the plans so that I can upload it as well on level 10.
Perfect, will do, Bea.
I just want to say thank you to both of you. Your trainings were absolutely amazing. I'm so excited with everything that we've learned, and I can't wait to start working through the workbook as well. So thank you so much for taking your time tonight to teach us some valuable information.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks,
It's an
everybody
absolute
who took
pleasure.
time tonight, and we hand you all back to our families. And those who are on the focus group, I would suggest we dial in and dial out and dial in again so that we can continue with our focus group. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.